Alright, what's going on guys? Episode 2 of Vinland Saga. Let's get right into it. Now this episode starts off with chapter 56 of the manga, Keitel Farm. Now Einar meets up with Thorfinn and finds out that he'll clear the forest for Keitel. Now whatever him and Thorfinn produce on the land, they'll sell back to Keitel and earn back their freedom. However, to produce stuff on the land, they'll need to first chop off all the trees. And that's what they do for the most part of this episode. They chop down some trees. At lunchtime, the retainers bring a paltry amount of food for the two. Einar is seething in rage at this paltry amount, but Thorfinn accepts it graciously. While the retainers are asleep, Thorfinn and Einar move huge logs all by themselves. After a day's worth of backbreaking labor, Einar tells Thorfinn that they should report the abuse that they received from the retainers. Keitel walks in and Einar looks poised to tell him, but ultimately refrains himself from doing so, after catching a glimpse of a beautiful woman. We're now in chapter 57, Young Master. We see Keitel hard at work in the fields. This surprises Einar, who didn't think that rich people worked. Keitel then starts berating his son Olmar for not leaving the stems long enough for the livestock. It turns out that Olmar detests farm work, and makes his intentions known that he wants to be a warrior. He later states he wants to be a soldier in Prince Canute's army, but it's obvious he has no skill with the sword. Olmar then finds out that the father of the girl wants her to have his baby, so that he can get rich off of it. Olmar is enraged by this notion and storms off on his horse. We then see Einar and Thorfinn sleeping on some hay. Now it should be noted that this scene with Einar and Thorfinn happened before the scene with Olmar in the manga, but for all intents and purposes, they probably occurred at the same time, so it doesn't really make a difference one way or the other. Einar remembers the time his father died when defending the village. And we have an image of Emma holding her two children, Einar and Loda, as they watch the village burn down. And this actually happens to be the only new scene in episode 2. In the manga, they showed his sister being taken away, but that was it. It didn't show anything more than that. And in fact, we don't even know if she lived or died. In the anime, that was resolved in episode 1. We actually know that she died. Einar then calls all warriors savages, as we see Thorfinn have a flashback of his childhood, when the village was being burnt down. And that's it for episode 2, guys. This one followed the manga pretty faithfully. Like I said, there was a brief deviation which they switched the order of events, and there was that one extra scene with Einar's mother and sister. But besides that, nothing new, guys. Tell me what you thought of episode 2, and I'll catch you on the flip side.